Thanks for choosing RTV News, wherever it is that you're joining us from here in Rwanda and around the world. Now, before we get started, here's a look at our top stories.
Indeed, this Wednesday, June 15th, 2022, President Paul Kagame arrived in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, for an official visit. The head of state was welcomed by Sheikh Shabut bin Nayam Al Nahyan, the Minister of State of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Also coming up, delegates from national human rights institutions from Commonwealth member states will convene in Kigali, Rwanda for the CHOGM meeting held every 2 years from the 16th to the 17th June 2022. Also tonight, some residents of Kigali say they are happy with the progress made in reducing the use of plastics, which was polluting the environment. However, they're calling for special measures to be taken to exhaustively address the issue. Many thanks indeed for joining us. You're watching RTV News live from Kigali with me, Ethan Teshabia.
And Isabel Masozera.
Let's kick it off now. This Wednesday, June 15th, 2022, President Paul Kagame arrived in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates for an official visit. The head of state was welcomed by Sheikh Shabut bin Nayam Al Nahyan, the Minister of State of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. During his stay, President Kagame will, among other things, pay his respects to His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan and offer his condolences to His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. Now, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, 61 years old, was unanimously elected by the Federal Supreme Council as the President of UAE on May 14, 2022, a day after the death of former leader Sheikh Khalifa, aged 73. Isabel.
Only 4 days left. Now on to CHOGM matters. Delegates from national human rights institutions from Commonwealth member states will convene here in Kigali, Rwanda for the CHOGM meeting that's held every 2 years from the 16th to the 17th June 2022 under the theme Human Rights for All at the Heart of Recovery Efforts During and After COVID-19. Gislin Mugwaneza now reports.
Representatives of the Human Rights Commissions from 46 of the 54 Commonwealth member countries are expected to meet in Kigali for a 2-day meeting. For the past 23 years, Rwanda has been at the forefront in respecting human rights. Marie-Claire Mukasine, the chairperson of Rwanda National Commission for Human Rights, says that Rwanda deserved to host the meeting.
Ariko kugira ngo iyi nama ishobore no kubera mu Rwanda,
in order for the meeting to take place in Rwanda, the Human Rights Commission of the country to host CHOGM must have status A, which is a status given to the human rights institutions in different countries, based on a review by the International Commissions of Countries to look at the functioning of each country's commission, to see if it complies with the principles of human rights, if it has the capacity, if it has any impact on human rights. As the National Commission for Human Rights in Rwanda, we are proud to say that we have status A in that assessment results. We are proud of that because if CHOGM would be hosted in Rwanda, while not having that status as the National Commission for Human Rights, that would be a big problem. Leadership experts Dr. Fanuel Murenzi has said that in Rwanda there is a political will to respect human rights, even though there is a need for greater empowerment.
In Rwanda, dialogue comes first when it comes to solving problems. If there is an issue in Isibo or in households, people come together to discuss it and find a solution. The mediators are there to solve problems among people. It does not require them to go to court. So it goes to the highest political levels and political parties if there is a problem. It does not need them to cause chaos until the member of parliament comes in. There is what we call dialogue.
The two-day conference will focus on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on socio-economic, civil and political rights, and on the role national human rights institutions can play in promoting and protecting their citizens' rights during the post-pandemic recovery process. Local residents have said that they really got negatively affected by COVID-19. We no longer have where to get money as girls. You know that all things were closed during COVID-19. Businesses were closed, and we request for our needs, and those you request from cannot give them for free. You have to offer something. It has really affected our lives. The biennial meeting will be held under the theme Human Rights for All at the Heart of Recovery Effort During and After COVID-19. Marie-Claire Mukasine, the chairperson of Rwanda National Commission for Human Rights, has mentioned that there will be an impact in rebuilding process.
noneho turebe ni gute twakubaka imbaraga twakubaka ubufatanye.
Let us see how we can build strength, build solidarity, so that human rights are more respected and integrated in all activities, in all the rebuilding programs and processes. We should look forward and leave no one behind. There will be an exchange of ideas, and it will lead us to thorough discussion and then help us to see that we as a forum should focus ahead. What are we going to do? What pillars are we going to use while rebuilding ourselves, and to build a stronger 2-year action plan as well as bringing changes? After the meeting, it will be decided by the representatives of the 46 member countries to implement the meeting resolutions within 2 years before the next program preparations. The Rwanda National Commission for Human Rights intends to further the forum's commitments to promoting, protecting, and advancing human rights within the processes of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Super stuff, Ghislaine. Isabel,
yes.
What are you most excited about?
When it comes to Shogam?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, let's see. Knowledge sharing,
Yeah.
possible partnerships,
Yeah.
endless possibilities, but most importantly, Rwanda proving critics wrong.
You're just becoming so sophisticated. I'm actually very excited about the idea of businesses operating 24/7.
Didn't see that one coming.
I know, it's such an exciting idea.
It really
And actually, that's the report we have next. Various service providers, especially those who are in hospitality establishments across Kigali, say they are ready to work 24 hours to provide the best service to the guests attending the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting due to start this week. Now, Jen Mutoni brings us this report.
Residents of Kigali City say that COVID-19 pandemic is one of the reasons why people are accustomed to going home early, with businesses and some service providers forced to not operate 24/7, as it was in some cases before COVID-19 pandemic hit the world. They say that during Choga meeting, it is only proper that service providers work 24 hours.
During evening hours after work, a person might want to pass by a supermarket to get something, or a restaurant, and if they find them closed, it won't be good.
Various business owners say they are ready to extend their working hours to provide extended services to guests who will be attending Chogam.
We are so prepared. In one word, I might say, they are just taking too much time to come. I think I can't wait to see them here. We are so prepared. As you can see, you passed, you have been around, you saw how everything is, and to the services, to the places, everything is fine. We're so ready to get the customers, the new ones here. Actually, we start early in the morning at 4 a.m. Actually, we open and we close normally at 2 a.m. But we would really wish to work 24/7 because it's all ready. Yeah.
The Private Sector Federation says they have held talks with hospitality and service providers so that they all have a full hourly schedule in order to be ready to provide services at all times.
They are ready and happy with the programs in place for preparations, and as it is, people have hope that businesses will benefit from this meeting. Concerning working hours, People thought that businesses or services close very early because they want to, but it's because things hadn't fully gone back to normal. But now that we know that guests from the CHOGM meeting will need our services after meetings, businesses are ready. We also advise those who can to be ready to provide good services, and the first step to achieving that is being available.
The mayor of Kigali City, Pudas Rubingisa, urges various service providers to make good use of this opportunity as Rwanda hosts the CHOGM meeting.
Abanyakigali barabiteguriwe mu mirimo itandukanye ari aho abashyitsi bazacumbika.
Kigali residents have been prepared in terms of hospitality, exhibitions for made in Rwanda products, so there will be opportunities as 60,000 people from different nations are expected to attend the meeting. I believe they already have information about Rwanda. Everyone is ready to use this opportunity and make the most out of it.
Buri wese rero yiteguye kugira ngo tubibyaze amahirwe ashoboka.
The CHOGM meeting, scheduled to start on the 20th of June, is expected to be attended by about 6,000 participants. Meanwhile, infrastructure upgrades are still underway in Kigali City and the improvement of sanitation at various services. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
That was Jen Motoni keeping us up to date on all matters CHOGM. Now moving on, the Rwandan government has said it was neither surprised nor discouraged by the court injunction to temporarily stop the first group of migrants from UK to Rwanda on Wednesday, as it had been expected. Now the last-minute ruling by the European Court of Human Rights suspended the trial of one of the migrants and his accomplices.
Now, Deputy Spokesperson of the Government of Rwanda, Ade Mukuradinda, says that the agreement between the two countries is not in breach of any international laws or local laws, and that this process will continue inevitably. In an exclusive interview with RBA's Dive Wayo, the Deputy Spokesperson for the Government of Rwanda began by explaining the reason and the origin of the court's decision to prevent the first batch of British migrants, rather migrants from Britain, from coming to Rwanda as expected.
Icyemezo cyafashwe n'urukiko ruhuriyemo n'ibihugu by'i Burayi.
The decision was taken by the European Court of Human Rights, but the initial ruling by the UK courts had ruled in favor of relocating migrants and asylum seekers to Rwanda. Even the appeals had ruled the same until the case was taken up by the European Court of Human Rights, from where the judge temporarily stopped the transfer of migrants. Under the EU legal procedures, one is allowed to appeal in the European Court of Human Rights when they are not happy with the ruling by the national courts. One of the asylum seekers went there, and the EU court ruled temporarily to suspend the transfer of migrants to Rwanda. But this is not a final ruling. There is going to be a substantial hearing before a final decision is adopted by the court. Basically, the judge of the EU took the decision to avoid future mistakes should there be any. This is not something unusual. We expected this to happen, and it's not a surprise that it happened. We expected court injunctions to try and stop this partnership. There's nothing unusual. This is simply a legal procedure we anticipated because of the nature of this partnership. On Rwanda's part, we are not surprised at all by the court ruling. Even as of yesterday during the press conference, we were not sure of the number of people that were going to board the first plane to Rwanda because the information kept evolving with time. But nonetheless, this is a temporary decision taken by the judge in the EU court pending further investigations and substantial trial before immigrants are transferred to Rwanda. Yet Rwanda is not a signatory to the European Court of Human Rights. In that way, it would have been very difficult to reverse the decision when migrants are already here.
Ariko tutarimo aravuga ati bishoboka yuko baramutse bagiye u Rwanda rutabagarura.
Interesting developments there now. Some residents of Kigali say they are happy with the progress made in reducing the use of plastics, which was polluting the environment. However, they are calling for special measures to be taken to exhaustively address the issue. We have this report.
Law number 17/2019 of the 10th of August 2019 prohibits the manufacture, importation, use and sale of plastic products. Some residents of Kigali say that At its inception, compliance with the law was a challenge, but that they are now accustomed to the benefits of the law, especially pollution reduction and environmental protection. When plastic users come, we explain to them that they are not allowed to use them. They also hear it on radio and on television. And when you see, for example, they buy soda, now they use a cup or they drink it right there in the bottle without necessarily asking for a drinking straw. We bring reusables and biodegradable products like envelopes to buy things so that we are not wasteful of what we already have, because plastics are no longer allowed and now we are not bothered anymore. However, the locals say that some of the goods imported to Rwanda are packaged in plastic bags, bottles and other plastic materials. They say that when they finish using it, they properly dispose it. You see, there are a lot of plastic bags, and when they are used, we burn them or put them in trash bins that fill up and are taken by garbage trucks. Beatrice Chiza, the Director General in charge of Environment and Climate Change at the Ministry of Environment in Rwanda, says that some of the products sold in plastic packaging are not exempt from the law for special reasons. There's a way where we were forced to look back. The law that says there was no replacement, for example, for those importing water and juice, there was no way to move the products without damaging them. And using plastic packages was the only way. That category got permission to use plastics. However, there's an amount of money they have to pay so that it keeps helping in buying whatever is needed. Some industries in Rwanda have started collecting and recycling used plastic materials.
EnviroServe is a private company specialized in e-waste recycling. But so far in Rwanda, we are focusing on e-waste, but also on plastic collection. When I talk about plastic, I'm talking about single-use plastic. So we collect them, and we have a facility in Bugesera. We take them to Bugesera, then they are treated. We have partnerships with IPRC, and students from IPRC are doing research to see if there's something we can make out of these plastics. So we'll give them samples to see if they come up with ideas to use these plastics. We also have individuals that are trying to see if they can make out of these construction materials. And if by the time they find something, the remaining that is no longer useful here, we have our headquarters in Dubai. So we ship them to Dubai because Dubai, they have a technology to recycle plastic. But I think in 2 years or 1 year ahead, we will also have that technology here, and then we'll no longer be sending it to our main facility in Dubai, and then we'll start recycling it here in Rwanda.
In April 2022, while at a meeting in Nairobi, Kenya, member states of the United Nations Environment Assembly voted in favor of a ban on the use of plastics around the world to protect the environment.
There is progress. There is also political will. But we need investment to use other solutions. There are other countries that have managed, by encouraging locals to invest alternative packagings that they can afford and they can even sell to others. I believe in Rwanda we can achieve this too.
Plastic materials are prohibited because they are harmful to the environment, including various types of bags, pans, plates, and more. The Ministry of Environment says that the process of banning plastics will continue until there's no plastic in Rwanda. But in the meantime, the most exempted products will be used in an environmentally friendly manner.
You're still watching RTV News. Now on to matters of security. About 300 staff members of ISCO Security, in collaboration with Rwanda National Police, have completed a 3-day refresher course on security management in support of security services. This comes as Rwanda prepares to host CHOGM 2022. Take a look.
Some of the participants in this security refresher course say they have learned a lot of useful things, including the new methods they will use to search and avoid some of the tricks used by terrorists.
Hari ibikoresho bimwe na bimwe twajyaga dufata nkaho ntacyo byahungabanya umutekano.
There are things we considered not to be of security breach, but now we know that we also need to avoid them.
Namenye uburyo abashaka guhungabanya umutekano technique bakoresha zindi nshya.
I learned how to crack down on terrorists and some of the new techniques they use in planting bombs at our work premises. So this will help me avoid all this.
Uburyo bwo guhungabanya umutekano cyangwa uko biyoberanya.
Head of Security Trainings, Kaitankore Celestin, stresses that the course aims to increase the capacity of security personnel to perform their duties effectively. The course aims to increase the capacity of security personnel, but also to increase the willingness and professionalism of the workforce. There are currently 16 private security agencies in Rwanda.
Thank you, Innocent, for that report. Now, 30 primary students in Rwanda topped the rest of the contest in arts and drawings, and they were provided with tools to help them enhance their talents. Now, this comes as Rwanda prepares to host Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, and these kids, or students rather, will be able to showcase their talent and their values during the CHOGM meeting here in Kigali. Precious Kirezi has this report.
Representing the district of Gatsibo in a nationwide competition is 9-year-old Cyuzuzo Glory, the only girl out of 30 whose drawings have excelled.
Iki gishushanyo nk'uko mukibona kiri mu ishusho y'agacuma bisobanura ubusabane no gusa.
As you can see, this is a drawing of a calabash. It symbolizes unity and collaboration. The first 3 parts of it consist of a crown-covered computer symbolizing good governance, represented by Queen Elizabeth, a computer symbolizing technology, and to top it off, the CHOGM logo. The next part has the convention center, representing Rwanda, as well as a girl and boy holding the Commonwealth flags, symbolizing the power in the youth's grasp. Some of the students with this artistic talent inherited it from their parents, and others found themselves gifted with no prior origin. Parents say they're going to support their children to ensure their talents are of an advantage to them. This has encouraged me and given me a sense of what I can do to help my child enhance his talent in a productive way. The competition was organized by the Ministry of Education in different parts of the country with the intention to raise awareness of the Commonwealth Association, which the state minister in charge of primary and secondary education has embarked on.
So this is part 3 of the activities that we have been doing in our schools to raise awareness around the Commonwealth and the heads of state meeting that we are hosting very soon. We started by providing information packs to different schools, and the second activity was for secondary school students where they participated in a mock program where 180 students came to Kigali to debate different issues that are very important to the Commonwealth. And this part that we are celebrating today is a drawing competition by students in the primary schools. We had asked them to draw or to tell us how they think about Commonwealth values, and you have seen how they try to look at the values of the Commonwealth through what they see here in Rwanda. And we have also seen that some of them will tell you, this is how I see how things are, but this is also how I can imagine the future to be. So this is something that we are happy about, and we are going to keep supporting these students so that they can continue to express themselves through art.
Art supplies were provided to students that excelled in the competition to help them enhance their visual artistry. Precious Chidezi, RTV News.
Now that report brings us to the end of our time with you. Thanks for sticking with us.
Absolutely, our time is fast spent indeed. On behalf of the entire news production team, many thanks for your company tonight. Until next time, I'm Ethan Teshavia.
And I'm Isabel Masozera.
Bye for now.